The work of the Declaration of Independence is a marvel. It brings up sort of the debate that we could have about the Founding Fathers. Were the Founding Fathers great men who had ideas, or were they men with great ideas? I'm going to argue that they're both, but when we look at the Declaration of Independence, we'll just see what those great ideas are. So I invite you to come along with me in this presentation of the Declaration of Independence. The first question we want to ask ourselves is, who's the audience for the Declaration of Independence? And we have several candidates along the way. The first audience is the people of the colonies themselves. R.J. Rushdoony will say that at the time that we pursued independence, about a third of the people in the colonies were loyal to England. About a third were supportive of independence, and a third were indifferent. So nobody had a majority, and so this Declaration of Independence is going to draw a line in the sand and say, now we are going for independence, and hopefully pull some of those indifferent people onto the side for independence, and convince the people who are loyal to England that they need to switch and put their loyalty in their neighbors. So one audience for the Declaration of Independence are Americans themselves. The other audience, of course, is Great Britain, the king in particular, because he is the one to whom we owe allegiance. According to the covenants that we would have made with Great Britain, we made them with the king. So in our minds, the king is above our legislature, and our legislature is elected by the people. And so we have a problem with the king. We also have a problem with the Parliament, because the Parliament is the legislature for England, but each colony has its own legislature, and so Parliament has inserted itself into the affairs of a colony in a way in which our covenant with the king did not list. And then we want to let the people of England itself know we are not enemies of them. We are pursuing a controversy with the king. So we want the Americans to know that a separation has come. We want Great Britain to know that a separation has come. And then we want to, and R.J. Rushdoony says, again, this could well be a sales pitch to the rest of Europe, because there are monarchies in France and Spain and other places, and those monarchies might be looking at England, and each of the monarchies of Europe also have their own colonies. So what will happen if the colonies begin to rebel? And this could be the beginning of a domino effect. First, England's colonies rebel, and then France's colonies and Spanish colonies, and they might decide we need to nip this thing in the bud. And so they would support England, and that's all we needed, because England was already a world power, and all we needed was France or Spain or another monarchy of Europe to come in on the side of England in our war. So we want to explain to them in a sales pitch sort of way why our controversy is just, why we deserved separation, so that they can say, hey, if we treat our colonies well, then there is not the problem that England is having. England brought this on themselves. All right, so that's our audience as this Declaration of Independence is being penned. The Declaration of Independence has 3 sections, and so we're going to do 3 quick videos on those 3 sections. The first one, this one, is on the foundation of government. The next one will be the long train of abuses which make up the majority of the Declaration of Independence. And then the last one will be a quick review of the Declaration proper, where we say we are now separated in independent states. The Declaration of Independence begins with talking about the human rights that all mankind has. We have rights, it says, according to the laws of nature and the laws of nature's God. What these is a discussion of the rights that we have innately, that we own being made in the image of God and being part of the world that he created. So human beings have a special kind of right that nothing else in creation has, and that government's job is not to give us those rights or take those rights away. Government's job is to secure the rights we already have. So human beings, according to the mindset of natural law, says that we all have rights whether or not they are recognized by government. So laws of nature is the way we are made. It is the world around us, the way that we would look at creation. And the laws of nature's God are those laws that have been written down for our admonition, which is basically scripture of the Old and New Testaments. So the laws of nature and the laws of nature's God describe for us the kind of rights that we ought to have. The authors and the founding fathers had in their minds the idea of natural law. They got it from the law textbook of the time, which was Blackstone's Commentaries on the Law. And this is the way he described natural law. These are the eternal, immutable laws of good and evil, to which the Creator himself in all his dispensations conforms, and which he has enabled human reason to discover, so far as they are necessary for the conduct of human actions. Such, among others, are these principles: that we should live honestly, should hurt nobody, and should render to everyone his due. To which three general precepts Justinian has reduced the whole of the law. So there we have a description of natural law. It is law that corresponds to the character of God. It is law that corresponds to the way he has made mankind, so that we have those rights whether they are recognized by government or not. Natural law. The ground has shifted in jurisprudence since the days of our founding fathers, so that today we no longer argue according to natural law. We argue according to what is called positive law, which is a legal system that claims laws are rules made by human beings and that there is no inherent or necessary connection between law and morality. So according to positive law, civil rights are all that exist. We don't have human rights, laws we deserve, and the government is created to secure those rights for us. Instead, we have civil rights, in which the government is created to give rights and to take them away as they see fit. And so the authority of government is not the character of God. It is not the way human beings are made, but it is instead the rule of the majority or the rule of coercion. For example, I have a friend who talks about the rule of the majority as two wolves and a sheep trying to decide what's for lunch. So good government defends the minority. Good government defends those who cannot speak up for themselves. Good government has a responsibility to manage and care for the minority, even when the government may disagree. So when you have a law and government that is based on consensus, you inherently have issues. Another way of doing it would be, as long as I have more power than you, as long as I have a bigger gun than you, then my ideas are right. But as soon as you are bigger or stronger, then you turn the tables and your ideas are right. Does that sound good? Does law come from government? Do our rights come from government? Or do we have rights independent of the recognition of government? That's a debate we need to have today. But you can see the advantage of the founding fathers in putting together an understanding of the right to rebel based on natural law, not on positive law. Natural law, human rights, are reciprocal rights and responsibilities. So I don't come over and take things from your house. You don't come and take things away from my house. We have the right to personal property. You don't hurt me, and I don't hurt you. We can live together in safety. There's not enough power, not enough government in the world. If we are bent doing evil, that can stop us from harming our neighbor. We have rights and responsibilities, human rights, the way we treat each other because of the way we're made. Blackstone says we have the right of personal security, we have the right of personal liberty, and the right of private property. Civil rights, instead, would be described by Rousseau in The Social Contract, when he writes, "When the prince says to him, 'It is expedient for the state that you should die,' then you should die, because it is only on such terms that you have lived in security as long as you have, and also because your life is not the bounty of nature," there's natural law, "but it's a gift you have received conditionally from the state." Oh, that just sends chills down my back. But there you are. There's the difference between human rights and civil rights. There's the difference between natural law and positive law. So Jefferson will go on to argue then, on the basis of natural law, we have rights that the king has not addressed. And so the purpose of government is to secure the rights of human beings for them. Not to give or take away, but to secure them. And if they don't secure them, then they have the right to abolish that government and come up with another government that will better secure their happiness. Right? So in his mind, the authority of government comes from the consent of the governed. Governments shouldn't be changed for light and transient reasons, but when rights are not secure, then the people have a right to change the government. That is, in Jefferson's mind, and in the mind of natural law, the right of revolution. When we come back, then, we're going to look at the things that the king has done that have brought about the problem that the Declaration of Independence faces. Thanks for hanging out.